Hello, everyone. Today, we will delve into a masterpiece from the great wellspring of Western literature, the pinnacle of ancient Greek tragedy, and the greatest whodunit in history, Sophocles' Oedipus Rex. Imagine a story where a brilliant detective, investigating a murder, discovers through a series of clues that the very killer he has been hunting is, in fact, himself. The archetype for all such stories was written over 2,400 years ago in this very play. Our story is set in the city of Thebes, which is suffering from a mysterious plague. The people beg their king, Oedipus, a hero famous for once saving the nation by solving the riddle of the Sphinx, to rescue them from this new calamity. But the cause of this plague is the fact that the murderer of the former king, Laius, still resides in their land. To save his people, King Oedipus makes a solemn vow to find the killer. He does not yet know the terrible price he will pay for knowing the truth. The oracle's decree and the vow of the king. To find the cause of the plague, the messenger Oedipus sent to the temple of Apollo returns with a dreadful oracle. The plague ravaging this nation is because the killer of the former king, Laius, is within this country. Until that person is captured and exiled or put to death, this disaster will not end. Hearing this, Oedipus, burning with a sense of justice and his responsibility as king, declares before his people, "No matter who the killer is, I swear I will find them. Even if they are someone close to me, I will show no mercy. I will fight for the sake of this case, as I would for my own father." This scene is famously powerful because for us, the audience, who will later learn the truth, every righteous word he speaks becomes a curse that pierces his own heart. This is what is known as tragic irony. He has, with his own hands, begun the investigation that will lead to his own ruin. The blind seer's terrible truth. As the first step in his investigation, Oedipus summons the most revered man in the country, the blind prophet Tiresias, and asks for his cooperation. But Tiresias, who knows the entire truth, remains silent, saying only, "Let me go home. It is better for you that way." He knew what a terrible tragedy the truth would unleash. However, Oedipus, who has absolute confidence in his own intellect, misinterprets the prophet's silence as proof that he is hiding the killer or is part of a conspiracy to take the throne. He begins to hurl insults at the old man. Unable to bear this humiliation, Tiresias finally unleashes the truth like a thunderbolt. "The murderer you are seeking is you yourself. The one polluting this nation is you, the king." But Oedipus does not believe a word of it. He dismisses it as a vile plot by those who want his throne and drives the prophet away. Herein lies the essence of his tragedy. He cannot see precisely because he can see so well. His physical eyes are open, but the eye of his mind, which should see the truth, is completely blinded by his excessive self-confidence, what the Greeks called hubris. The unraveling threads of the past. Though he rejected the prophet's words, a seed of doubt was planted in Oedipus's heart. From here, like a first-class thriller, the story begins to pull on the terrifying threads of the past, one by one. First, his wife, Queen Jocasta, in an attempt to comfort him, says something that changes everything. "You need not worry about prophecies. King Laius himself was once told he would be killed by his own son. But in reality, he was killed by robbers at a place where three roads meet." A place where three roads meet. The moment he hears these words, the color drains from Oedipus's face. Because he himself, long ago at just such a place, had gotten into a dispute with an old man's entourage over a trivial matter and killed them all. Driven by anxiety, Oedipus orders the sole surviving witness of that incident, a shepherd, to be summoned. Just then, as if to seal his fate, a messenger arrives from Oedipus's hometown of Corinth. The messenger announces the death of the king of Corinth, Oedipus's supposed father. For a moment, Oedipus is relieved, believing the prophecy that he would kill his father has been proven false. But the messenger, in an attempt to comfort him completely, opens the final, most cruel door to the truth. King Oedipus, you were not the biological son of the Corinthian king. You were a foundling I received from a shepherd and gave to the childless king. As a baby, your ankles have been pierced and bound together. The catastrophe, the unveiling of the truth. All the points now connect into a single line. The shepherd, the man who served in King Laius's court, who abandoned the infant Oedipus on a mountain, and who is the sole survivor of the king's murder, is dragged before the king. Under Oedipus's desperate questioning, the shepherd finally confesses everything. The baby I abandoned on the mountain was the son born to King Laius and Queen Jocasta. He was you, my lord. The prophecy had been fulfilled. He had killed his own father, Laius, and married his own mother, Jocasta, even having children with her. Realizing the whole truth, Oedipus screams in agony, "O light, may I look on you for the last time. I, Oedipus, damned in my birth, in my marriage damned, in the blood I shed damned." He runs into the palace and discovers that Queen Jocasta, having understood everything, has hanged herself. Oedipus takes the golden brooches from her dress and, with their sharp pins, stabs his own eyes again and again, screaming that they should no longer see the suffering he has caused and endured. The meaning of the tragedy. What does this story ask of us? One theme is the problem of fate versus free will. Oedipus fled his home in Corinth to escape his fate, but it was that very act of free will that led him directly to its fulfillment. Another is the tragedy of knowing. His tragedy did not happen because he was lazy or indecisive. On the contrary, it was his greatest strength, his intellect, and his relentless pursuit of the truth that led to his own destruction. And it is a warning against hubris, excessive pride. His success in defeating the Sphinx with his intellect made him belittle the warnings of the gods and reject the words of the prophet. That arrogance clouded his eyes from seeing the truth. The blind man who sees. At the end of the story, Oedipus, having blinded himself and become physically sightless, clings to his two daughters and begs to be exiled. The king who was blind to the truth when he had his sight has now, having lost the light, become one who finally sees the entire truth. The hero celebrated as the nation's savior must now be cast out as the cursed source of its pollution. Finally, the chorus sings the play's chilling lesson to the audience. Count no man happy until he has passed the final limit of his life without suffering. This story asks us, is it better to live in blissful ignorance or to confront a devastating truth, even if it destroys us? Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.